Hey there, thanks for joining me. So, I have not had a chance to walk as much as I wanted to today. We had some guests over today, which was nice. It was enjoyable, but I have not gotten my other walk in. And then I also have not been able to record an episode like I wanted. So I thought I would go ahead and try to combine the two. I'm taking a walk right now with the dogs. So if you do hear some noise in the background or me huffing and puffing a little bit, that's just me going up some hills or struggling to keep two dogs on the same pace together while one wants to drag and the other wants to yank us all ahead. So I do apologize if it's annoying, but I wanted to give this a try because right now I'm basically exemplifying exactly what I tell you to do. Get creative and make the most out of every second. And then just try your best. So this is me trying to do two things at once. And if it works well, great. I now have another option that's going to be in my toolbox for days that I really want to get to record something, but I also want to get my walk in. And I also want to get the dog some exercise. So this is just one example of, again, me trying to make sure I am not a hypocrite and I'm doing everything that I encourage you guys to do as well. That said, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about change. I've had that on my mind as we all know, this last year has been a little tough and it slowly feels like it's taking another shift, another pivot. And a lot of things have changed in the past year, some for the better, some for the worse. And knowing full well that part of the biggest challenge of change itself is just simply the fact that you're not really mentally prepared for it, that we resist the change. It's not maybe that the change itself is all of that terrible or creates such a problem in our lives, as much as it is just that our mentality is not prepared to accept that that's the new reality. Maybe we are just completely in denial, thinking things are going to go back to what we're comfortable with and we're used to. Maybe we just haven't yet figured out how to maneuver in this new changed atmosphere. No matter how big or small, changes can really throw us for a loop. I mean, something simple. I'm trying to think of a good example. I know, just little things. I mean, things around your house. Say, for example, you get a new piece of furniture, or, you have a new, right now we're actually getting ready to get a new faucet on our sink. And I know for a few days it's going to be strange. It's going to be unusual. Sometimes changes are good and exciting. Like sometimes, say you get like new clothes, you are excited to head to your closet. You're like pumped up, like, oh cool, like, oh, I've got that new outfit I can try. Sometimes it just throws you for a loop a little bit, like, oh yeah, that's right, that faucet doesn't turn on that way. But there's also bigger things, of course, things that are changes to your schedule. The kids just finished up this school year, so now summer has shifted into being a whole new schedule with the kids home, and we have to make sure to find ways to keep them entertained and busy. And it just comes again with its whole new set of challenges. So what I'm trying to do at the moment, just as we always need to when things change, trying to focus on the positive, trying to maneuver around the negative or just the differences, and trying to optimize. So, the first week of summer, we're probably going to have it looking a lot different than the last week. So by the last week, it's like you tend to get in your rhythm or your groove and you start to figure out that new schedule. I was actually just thinking too how, as I was packing lunches for the last time the other morning, how I really have it down to a science now. Like I have rocked the morning routine the last few weeks because I had enough time to really get used to it. I knew down to like the minute, like, okay, I have to have the kids all dressed, ready to go downstairs by 8, eating breakfast, in order to have enough time to track down shoes, track down socks, get their teeth brushed, do my daughter's hair, get their lunches packed, get their water bottles packed, get them in their backpacks, send them all off to the bus stop at the correct time. So I was just thinking in the back of my mind, I should probably like jot down some notes as to my time frames, because I now have it worked out so well and I know what's going to happen. Next year's going to come. Next school year will be here, and I'm going to not really remember exactly what it is that, that time frame was, and it's going to throw me for a loop again. And the first week or two is going to be stressful as I try to kind of work out that routine again. So ultimately, what I want to remind you is that things changing, it's going to happen one way or the other. So therefore, making sure that you embrace it as much as possible is always going to do the best for you. And then trying to realize that the faster you're able to optimize, the more easily that transition is going to happen, and the better you're going to be able to handle the next change that comes along, knowing that you handled the last one just fine. And what is weight loss but goal setting? What is goal setting but a series of activities where you're slowly shifting? A little change here, a little change there. Oh, there's a deer. Oh, hold on. No, we're not chasing the deer. No, we're not chasing the deer into the poison ivy. Excuse me. So, little changes here and there as we slowly shift ourselves in the right direction. And remembering too that those actual changes, okay, I'm now going to get up a little bit earlier to make sure my lunch is packed. Okay, I'm actually going to sit down the night before and pre-plan my meals for the next day. Okay, I am actually going to set some alarms on my phone telling me to drink a lot of water. You know what, I'm going to do some sort of movement by the end of every day, whether it's a walk on my lunch break or a quick little video or some yoga, whatever it might be. Those small incremental changes that you shift one little thing at a time and you get used to it, then you add the next change and you get used to it. The biggest, most difficult part of everything I just listed there, of all those tiny little incremental shifts in your schedule, the most difficult part is not doing each of those things. It's your mindset around doing each of those things. It's your mentality. It's your mental voice telling you, your inner child perhaps, but I don't want to get up a little earlier. That, is frustrated or, maybe just annoyed that it's not your typical routine that you've developed thus far, that it's not as easy. And now technically the routine might be just as easy. It's just you're not in it yet. Just as I'm going to feel that first week next school year when I'm like, okay, wait, what time's the bus come? What time do we have to actually start walking to get up to the bus stop? What time do I, backtrack then? By what time do I have to have them, fed? By what time do I have to have them up? By what time do I have to have them dressed? I'm going to have to refigure all that out. It's going to feel slightly stressful, just as it has the last few years. But then I'm slowly going to figure it out, get the hang of it. And then it's going to be to where I can juggle additional things into my mornings. Okay, now let me add getting up a little earlier than that and walking the dogs first. Now let me add getting up a little earlier than that and walking the dogs and then doing an exercise before I start getting everybody ready. So I'm not going to do that on day one. The very first day of school, I will not try to juggle in, okay, let me do like 10 other things that morning in the midst of trying to get them ready to go. I will most likely just focus on that one shift, get it under control, get it comfortable, and then optimize in the next piece. Okay, let's see. Now, this is where I can carve out a few more minutes here. This is how I can, better organize my schedule there. Maybe there's some things I'm going to want to start planning out the night before. Let's get outfits picked out and ready to go. Let's get lunches packed and ready to go. Anything like that. So that's just one example of exactly what you need to do as we continue to push you forward on your weight loss goals. You know this. None of this is new. None of this is things that you don't really truly understand and know. But as always, these things are really great reminders. So it's good to hear them again and again. It's good to remind yourself that it's not the actual actions that are difficult. It's your mind. It's your mind saying, but I don't know, but I'm a little stressed. And remembering too all the times you've mastered changes before and you've created routines that were fresh and new in a whole new situation. Those times you were fully successful, and you probably got to where you were juggling in 10 other things at once, never thought much of it. Think about especially times that you've started new jobs. The first week of a new job can just be absolutely terrifying, where you don't know anything. You don't know where anything is or what the processes are or who other people are, what their names are, what everyone's positions are, what their roles are. It becomes really nerve-wracking. But give it a couple weeks and you don't, all in one day just figure everything out with a snap. But the first day you get a few introductions, you're given a few tasks, you familiarize yourself with some things, and then the next day you're given a little bit more, and the next day you try a little bit more. Maybe you're trained on a software or a program or a process. 6 months in, you're doing it like it's just completely old hat. It's simple, it's easy, you don't even think twice. You might not even pay any attention. You might be multitasking and, mentally doing your grocery list while you're doing your job. But there was no way you could do that the very first day. Just keep in mind, you are fully capable. You have done this in many, many, many other areas of your life. It is nothing different. It's just something that you have to make a choice to do for yourself. And you have to remind yourself that you absolutely want to do it. You couldn't give up on that job. You couldn't just throw in the towel. You needed the money. You needed to stick it out. You needed to, if it was, worst case, a really terrible job, at least go find another one. There's so many other changes that we handle because we just have to. Remembering, too, that weight loss, it's not a more difficult change. It's not a more difficult routine to figure out. It's just often one that we allow ourselves to throw the towel in on because the only person getting hurt in the situation is us. And remembering too that it's very easy to tell yourself that something else is more important and takes the priority. Why is that? Because if we are spending time on ourselves, we are spending time, putting together our own lunches or doing our own workouts and exercises, it's very easy to rationalize that in that time we could have been caring for others. We could have been helping out, maybe an aging parent or a child, or, putting some effort into something that was beneficial for the household or a friend or our job. It's very easy to rationalize why that shouldn't be the priority. So remembering that your mind is super creative, it's creative enough to have come up with those rationalizations in the first place. So it's just as creative enough to turn around and rationalize why you should make yourself the priority. Remembering too that once you are happier, healthier, more comfortable in your own skin, you most likely will have more energy, and therefore all of the things that you do for others are going to be benefited in the long run. You will now have an easier time caring for others. Maybe you'll have the energy to put more hours in when you are feeling that, upbeat, motivated state of mind that you get from feeling prideful, accomplishing your goal, and then you are physically healthier. So remembering that big picture, long run, everyone around you is going to benefit more when you actually do put yourself first, prioritize yourself, and meet your goals. Let's go ahead and tackle those small changes, remembering they're not going to kill you, remembering that you've optimized plenty of other changes before. Think about all the ones that you have done before, especially most recently, and implement those same rules and structures that you did when you did so with those other things. I wish you all the best. I wish you well. I know you can do it. Make sure to jump in the Facebook group and chat with us about any of the changes that you're implementing. Ask any questions. See if there's anything we can do to help you come up with ideas, root you on, whatever that may be. We look forward to talking to you soon.